and I'm doing this video series where I'm hopping online and I am making videos based on my old posts, and I'm going to add a little commentary and some new thoughts. I've been told that some people really would like to see some more video content. So the one I'm doing today is called The Art of Compromise, and compromise is a big deal in my house. My son is ADHD like I am, but he is also considered to be high-functioning autistic or Asperger's, as we talk about it around here. So it became clear years ago, before we even had his diagnosis, that we were going to have to work on compromise. So I wrote this article, I think in the spring, probably 2 years ago or so. And I started it by saying, compromise is to settle a dispute by mutual concession. So the first thing I realized when it came to my son was that he loves an argument. My son, if he senses that he's thrown you, he goes in like a shark that smells blood. Like he loves to argue, and everything is a semantic game. So, and he also has some emotional regulation issues. So it became abundantly clear early on that I was going to have to teach him, directly instruct him on what compromise means. So one of the things that I did was I looked up that definition, and then I explained it to him. I said, the word compromise, and he said it for me. I said, when you compromise, you give a little something, I give a little something, and that way we don't have to fight. And I gave him an example, and it's actually in the writing over here. It just said, I like to get up in the morning and have my time alone. And I like to sort of drink my coffee and get ready for my first class of the day and do my thing. And sometimes he will wake up early and come out, and he'll start screeching at me, like, because he wants to watch the television. And sometimes in the morning, I don't want the television on, especially not for my 7-year-old. And he still does this. This was written 2 years ago, and we still have this argument. So what happens is he comes out, he wants me to let him turn on the TV, he wants a little snack, maybe some milk or something, and then we have to argue, because I'll be like, well, can you wait a few minutes? I know it's pretty early, I'll give you your milk, but I would prefer to avoid the TV. And the next thing you know, they're screaming. I mean, really, like screaming, as if I'm peeling his skin off. I mean, it's crazy. So I started by explaining to him that if he gives me a little something, like some quiet time, like if you go back to your room and you give me 5 minutes of quiet, maybe when you come out, we can watch 15 minutes of Magic School Bus or whatever. So you give a little something and I give a little something. And I kind of started explaining it to him in this way. I also gave him other examples of compromise. Like one night, my husband and I were trying to decide what to do on a Friday night for dinner, and we could not figure out what we wanted to do. I was really not in the mood for like pizza or anything too heavy. And I said, well, I could go for some, just like a little sashimi, a little sushi or something. And my husband just wanted like something simple, like pizza. And so we decided to like talk about it. And it ended up that the boys got their pizza, and I literally got in my car and drove by myself and got myself just a little bit of like sushi. So we made a compromise. In here, okay, I demonstrated compromise by asking him what he could do for me in the morning that he thought would make me happy. I remember this. He volunteered to brush his teeth by himself, which is funny because even now, he rarely volunteers to brush his teeth without me supervising. I don't know why. At that point, I said, okay, and I gave him privacy in the bathroom. I know that he's going to make a mess in my bathroom, but this is how I showed him what compromise meant. After he brushed his teeth, I said, look, I gave you privacy to smear your toothpaste, and you did something that made me happy. We both compromised. This was excellent. And I remember this day because it went so well. It doesn't always go this well, but the example in the article did go very well. We also spend a lot of time in my house talking about other people's feelings. I mean, a lot of time talking about other people's feelings. Sometimes he doesn't notice because of his high functioning autism. Sometimes he does notice, but he doesn't care, literally doesn't care, or he just doesn't know how to control his own behavior. He really doesn't have the ability to control his own reactions and behavior. So when he says something unkind to a classmate or a teacher, which does happen in my life, this does happen, I always ask him, how would you feel if someone said that to you? If someone said to you, I hate you, or I hate you, I'm going to hog smash your school. I mean, because he said that one time. So I had to ask him, how would that make you feel? We talk a lot about, the feelings of other people, and I try to reflect. If he has said something inappropriate, I reflect it back onto him. This isn't really about compromise, but I feel like if I can make him aware that other people have feelings, then maybe he's more apt to compromise. Maybe. We're hoping. Yeah. Here's to hoping. The other thing I like to do is when he is being really pro-social, when I see him socializing on the playground, or when his teacher tells me he is sharing appropriately or waiting in line appropriately, I try to reward him. With my kid, a reward could be anything from a new little action figure to a game of Monopoly Junior, since we're really into that. Any kind of reward, like positive reinforcement. This is the thing. I think teaching compromise directly is actually kind of important. At least it seems to be for a lot of my friends and me. It's hard. Not all kids just develop appropriate social skills. We know this, right? There's a range of reasons and diagnoses to explain why not everybody develops their social skills in the same order at the same time. So learning about compromise, learning about empathy. I have another article on empathy. It's part of like a larger puzzle. And when your child has special needs, and I have ADHD, it's like I'm trying to pull it all together. I'm trying to control my own reactions and stay calm. I'm trying to teach him through doing and demonstrating the behavior I want to see. And that's it. I just think that compromise and empathy and all those things, sometimes they need to be taught directly. It's not the most fun, and it's maybe it's not always how I pictured the whole parenting gig going, but that's how it's going. I hope this was helpful to you. Again, this is Liz from A Dose of Healthy Distraction. For more on my personal take on parenting with ADHD, go to my website, A Dose of Healthy Distraction. Thanks. Ooh.